Hey everyone, let's take a look at how to use named versus default exports. So we're going to take a look at the new version of the React docs. They're in beta, so beta.reactjs.org. Go to the Learn section here, and we're going to go to Describing the UI, and I'm going to go to Import and Exporting Components. So all this you can read yourself in your own time. I'm going to skim through it, and I'm going to give you an overview of it. So basically, if you watched the last video, should have watched the last video, we had a look at the profile component, the gallery component, and basically this is the profile component that's being used here inside the gallery component. Okay, pretty simple. So let's have a look at exporting and importing components. So you can use either default or named exports, and basically let's have a look at what that means exactly. So in here, we've got an export default function app, and we're importing gallery. And if we go to gallery, we've got an export default function gallery. So we're able to then import that because we exported it, and profile is being used here. It's in the same file, so it doesn't need to be exported. But if I wanted to show it in app, I would have to export it. And I'll show you in a minute how to do that. Let's scroll down and see what else there is first. Note, okay. Let's go into the deep dive. I kind of like deep dives. So this has some nice little graphics here. Let's just scroll up so you can see them. So yeah, let's hide that. You just want to concentrate on this. So export default, you can have one default export, right? So we've got export default function button. So this is what we've been using. This is great. And then we can have a named export. So export function slider, like if we had wanted to export that profile, we would have had to use a named one because we can't have two defaults. So you can have then two components, two functions in the same file exported just by using a named one. And you can mix it as well if you wanted to. So you could have in the same file the default one and the named one. Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So the syntax differs. When we use a export default, then we import it, import button from button, right? This is the default one. It doesn't care about the name. So you could call this banana if you wanted. You could literally say import banana from button and it would just work, right? Crazy, I know. Whereas the named one, it's important, the name's important. Export function button, this is a named component. So we have to import button and we need curly brackets. That's the kind of main difference. Kind of difficult to remember, but don't worry, you'll get used to it. So that's the main differences. So let's have a look a bit more. Exporting and importing multiple files. So let's just go to this because this is fun. So we've got our gallery, contains two exports, a default gallery export and named profile. And let's try editing them and see what happens, right? So we can see here we've got gallery and we've got profile. So let's add the gallery here so we can kind of see the gallery as well. So let's put our, gallery in here. Now it's going to break and it's like, but if you can see there, it's saying, did you want a JSX fragment? Yeah, I did actually. Thanks for that. And you can put in here. You can put a div as well, but we don't want to show the div. It's meaningless. So I'm just using this, which is just like the same as kind of putting a div, only it doesn't show in the HTML. So I could easily just do this as well, right? If you wanted to style it, then the div would make sense. If you don't want to style it and you just want to just be able to use two components, then the fragment works just as well. Okay, so we've got a gallery and we've got a profile. Excellent. So let's look a little bit about what's going on. So we have an export default function gallery. Great. And we've got an export and named one here. So let's play around with this. What will we do? I could make this the default, right? Export default. Okay. Now it's going to scream and it's going to go, only one default export allowed. Okay, no problem. I'll just remove you. You're now a named export. Okay. Export function gallery and export default function profile. And now it's broken. It's like, this doesn't work. So why is that? It's importing gallery. So let's do gallery from gallery. And it's still not working. And let's make profile as the default. So let's change that. And now that works. So we just kind of reverse the order. Okay. So we now have the export default function of profile and the gallery is our named one. Now, what if I was to remove the named one and just do this? What do we get? Were you expecting that? You're probably not even understanding what I'm doing here. So I'm going to change that around a little bit. Let's go back to making this the default, right? Let's remove this. Now the default is the gallery. We now got 2 galleries. What? Were you expecting that? What's going on here? Why have I got 2 galleries when I've got a gallery and a profile? I mean, I'm importing profile from gallery. I've got gallery and I've got profile. So this is what happens when you got default exports. Like, do you remember when I said you can call it banana? Like, I could literally import banana. I have to change it here though. Oops, B-A-N-A. I can't spell banana, oh my God. And it would still work, right? And that's basically because we're using the default export. So named export, I'm gonna have to have profile and profile, right? It's still gonna show the gallery. And if I want a named export, I only want the profile, I have to do this. Now I've got the profile, the 1 component, the 1 image, and the gallery as a 3. So that's the main difference, right? So you can see it can get confusing, you can play around with it, but you can see things can go wrong and you're like, what's happening here? And that's probably why. Okay, so that was cool. Let's try out a challenge. So we have our wonderful components here. We've got an app, we have a gallery, and we've got a profile. And we're basically being told, I want you to go to the profile. So this is being used in the app. I'm importing the profile from gallery. So we want to change this to profile, right? We're going to put it in here. Oh no, I just broke it. But don't worry. And now we can basically, well, we go to our gallery and we can move this. I'm just going to copy it for now. And I'm going to put you in here. So this is working again. And the gallery is going to scream if I remove this, right? Because it's going to say, but I don't have a profile. So I want to then import the profile into the gallery, right? So this is now going to be able to use this. And now I can actually use the gallery in here. And oops, that's not the right syntax. And there we go. We have our gallery and our profile. And again, I could mess around with this and say, you know what, profile, I want you to be a default. That's totally cool. That's just, you know, fine. But obviously here, you're now a default. So you need to remove the brackets. And the same in the app. I need to remove the brackets. And that works. I've got my gallery and my profile. So again, named or default, up to you. Just remember that you need to like make sure you're going to put the brackets or not. And that's it. Hope you try that challenge yourself. If you get stuck, there's show hints, there's show solution. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.